Hello and welcome to my channel. So February is starting off to be quite the interesting month. There's already been some things that have occurred in the world, both in the world of social media, in my personal life, maybe in your life as well. But in this video, I want to talk about something that happened a few nights ago, the night of the Grammy Awards, and specifically the award given to recording artist and singer-writer extraordinaire Victoria Monet. Now, I will say this has been already a great year for Black women being rewarded when it comes to media. We have seen Black women walk away with Best Actress. We have seen it is Best Supporting Actress. We have seen there's been a lot of really great recognition so far. And then there's been some not so great or some extreme lack of recognition. There's been a lack of, nominations for certain projects. Of course, at the Grammys, Jay-Z pointed out that even though Beyonce is the most decorated Grammy Award winner ever, I believe that is a title that she has also never been given Album of the Year, which I have some very passionate feelings about that, but I won't share them in this video. Let's just suffice to say I don't agree, and I don't like that. However, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the award given to Victoria Monet because I think it speaks so much to the spirit of the creative and specifically what kind of mindset and what process you have to have and be involved in if you are chasing a dream that doesn't happen to you overnight. So I want to start off by saying that I am not or was not completely familiar with her work. Even though I've heard her name for a long time, living in LA, I even knew some people that knew her. I did not really know all of what she did until the Ariana Grande collaborations began. And, you saw her in the Thank You Next video and, you would hear little snippets, or at least I would hear little snippets that she would do here and there. But I didn't really, I didn't really know what kind of talent we were working with in this situation. And I didn't really pay attention until the video for Coast came out. And then there was a dance challenge that she was a part of over on TikTok. And then the On My Mama video came out, which I think was just like a juggernaut. It just really, really took social media and then as a result, culture by storm. And I think that's what put her, this last album is what really solidified her as a bona fide superstar. I also was not aware of how long and kind of arduous her path had been to becoming who she is. And what I will say is that when she stepped on stage and she gave the speech that she gave Grammys night, and I'm not going to play it because I'm not trying to deal with copyright trash. This is going to be a little quick video and I ain't got time to go through all that. But the speech that she gave where she talked about how she went out to LA in 2009, which brave, very brave. I'm 5 years older than her and I didn't have it in me to go out there at that time. It took me almost another, 7 years, after 2009 to get out there. And I didn't even last that long, but we'll get to that. But she said she went out in 2009 and she went out with a little binder and she was going from label to label and she took her binder of her songs or her ideas and she left it in an office. Somebody else came back years later, found it, contacted her and agreed to be her manager. That's such a powerful, kismet, fated, destiny type of thing. But it also is the type of detail that to me indicates that she had a dream that was actually going to come true fruition. I think a lot of times when people are chasing something, you're chasing a creative goal, you're chasing something you might want to do, it's very hard to believe it will actually happen without certain things also taking place. And I think if you're in that space in life and you're not seeing certain things take place, it's just very hard to keep the faith. It's very hard to believe that anything is ever going to happen. And it's just very hard to keep the faith. And so I just was looking at her story and listening to the beautiful speech that she gave. And I thought about it and I said, what does it take for somebody to really continue, for somebody to keep pushing, for somebody to commit to 15 years of working towards a goal? When I see people who are successful, what do I notice that's kind of a through line in their stories that equals out to them being able to hold on until they finally receive what they were always destined to receive. And so I want to share with you a quick little acronym that I came up with, and it actually reminds me of things that I heard when I was a kid growing up in a Baptist church. If you're familiar with like the armor of God, right? The breastplate of righteousness, the helmet of salvation. Ooh, that gives me bad flashbacks to that couple. You know what couple I'm talking about. Anyway, but so if you're familiar with the putting on the armor of God, it's kind of similar to that. I am calling it wearing the coat of success. That's what I'm calling it for right now, okay? And when I say coat, it stands for COAT, which is a lovely little acronym that I made up. The C stands for collaboration, the O stands for opportunity, the A stands for acknowledgement, and the T stands for team. And I'm going to explain how I think each of these things leads to someone being able to hold on to whatever process they're going through until their dream is achieved. And if any of these things don't happen, that's how you get people who eventually abandon their goals and they don't stick it out until the work is done. So in no particular order, let's start off with A. In order for you to accomplish anything, at some point in time, you need to be acknowledged. It is so important and it means so much when you're working towards a dream or you have a goal or something you're trying to achieve and someone comes toward you, comes behind you, around you, and they say, hey, you're actually good at this thing. In fact, sometimes you might not even have that dream. You might not even know that that's something you want to do until someone says, do you know you're good at this? This is something you're good, like you're a talent, like you could do this. Having people acknowledge, having some kind of outside acknowledgement of a talent that you have, and not only just acknowledge it, but acknowledge it in a way that makes you believe that it's something you could actually do something with, is so important. Without that acknowledgement, you could possibly start to think that, okay, yeah, I can do this thing, but it's not that big of a deal. Okay, yeah, this is something I did, but no one really cared, so I let it go. Yeah, it was something that, was going on, but I don't know, I'm not good enough to make it actually happen or put it into reality. Yes, you can believe in yourself, but in order for things to take place and to happen and to manifest in the world around you, you've also got to convince other people in some way, right? If you just believe it yourself, but other people never buy in, then it becomes something that you only share with yourself. So I can think I'm the greatest singer in the world, but if nobody else outside of me ever says, yeah, I like to listen to you, then singing is just something I'll do in the shower. Versus if somebody hears me humming a little something one day or singing in the bathroom, and this is actually a real story that happened to Florence from Florence and the Machine. She was singing in the bathroom at a club and someone heard her and they said, hey, I can do something with that. That's what is that you're doing? That is amazing. So that acknowledgement, and it usually has to come from outside, is I think the first step. Like you can believe in yourself, you can know, but someone else coming up and saying, hey, there's something you can do with that. You have a gift, you should share that. I think that's what leads to people manifesting things on the outside of them. And the next thing is I think you need to be able to collaborate. Once you're acknowledged, like, so let's take Florence and the Machine, for example, somebody acknowledged her, you need to be able to work with that person, to work with maybe many people, to see what that gift that you have, what's the real life value of that gift. And what I've noticed is that if you have a gift or you are the type of person that people like to see be the steward of that gift, and we see this a lot with social media, you can see somebody and think, oh, that person has a real gift, but I'm not going to follow them. I'm not going to invest in them, which is a form of collaboration. And if you're also a creator, I'm not going to, work with them to try and to do projects with them if they're not the type of person that I think is a good steward of that gift. So yeah, they might have talent, but like, what are they doing with that talent? And are they working with it in such a way that it has greater value? So I think being able to collaborate is a huge part when it comes to manifesting the dream that you have. Because if you just acknowledge it, you just know, you have a gift. Maybe a couple people said, yeah, I've seen your writing, it's pretty good. But no one ever says, hey, let's put you on a project. Hey, I'd love to perform this. Hey, you gotta have that collaboration. Collaboration brings things to life. It puts things in motion. If you collaborate in the right ways, you are going to be granted opportunities. Doors are going to open for you. And we see this all the time. We see this in the minimal story that Victoria told about her life when she accepted her award. You have this acknowledgement. People think that you're great. She picks up the binder. She says, hey, can I collaborate with you? And now doors start to open. Now let's get you out there. Let's get you working with certain producers. Let's get you in studios. Let's now make something real happen. Yes, people can collaborate with you. They could put you on a podcast. They could make 1 or 2 songs. They could maybe make a video or 2 with you on social media. But what greater opportunity does it open the door for? If that greater opportunities, if those bigger and bigger rooms don't open for you, then your dream might not make it as far as you might want it to go. And I'm going to say this, a lot of people get burnt out looking for or waiting on that right opportunity. And I feel like a great way of knowing that something is going to work out for you, you can tell by the kinds of opportunities that you are offered. There can be a long road ahead of you. But if those doors keep opening and every door is better than the last one, I feel like that's a perfect environment for you to keep the faith and to know that you're on the right track and this is going to happen eventually. It might not happen in your timetable, but I feel like every opportunity is a promise to you that it's going to happen eventually. And when those opportunities don't happen, that's when people get worn out. That's when they throw in the towel. That's when they walk away. So it's incredibly important when someone is trying to make a dream take place or come true, that they see that opportunity and that they enjoy that. And that really depends a lot of times on the type of collaborations you have. What greater work are you creating? What are people seeing within you that makes them invest in you? It all works together. Nothing happens without opportunities, without doors being open. So you have more and more chances to become who you're supposed to be so that your dream can come to fruition. Okay, the last thing, and I put this last because I actually feel like this, I do feel like this is the most important, even though I said in no order of importance, but I do feel like this one is the most important. The T, which stands for team. We live in a society where there's a lot of emphasis placed on the individual, but the individual a lot of times does not get where they're supposed to be in life without a whole team of people behind them. And it doesn't even have to be people who are doing the same thing that you're doing. One thing that made me really happy was people acknowledging the way that Victoria's, her partner was with their child and on the red carpet, a person who wasn't there to pull focus, a person who was there to help her manage the child care, a person who was there to support her, but not in a way that diminished her light at all. And that's a teammate. That is a team. Having the right partner, they don't have to be involved in music. They don't have to be involved in whatever you're doing. But as long as they're playing their part so that you can have that part of your life balanced and, managed well and taken care of so you can focus on what your gift is, that's your team. So your manager, if you're at that point in your life, that's your team. Your family members, whatever they got going on, if they're part of your team. Your friends, people that understand where you're coming from and really know your story and are trying to support you, really know your story. I mean, they'd have really been there. They haven't been there in and out over the years. They haven't been there. They didn't see everything and they're still there. That's your team. Your audience, the people that like what you're doing. They keep buying your records or they keep watching your videos or they keep investing in, whatever else you got going on. They're on your team as well. Last year, I said that I was going to do a video about the other Black girl, and I never made it. I never did it for y'all. I'm so sorry. It's most likely not going to happen. But I saw a lot of myself in that story, at least in how it's told in the Hulu miniseries, because the main character in the other Black girl is, she is the messy archetype when it comes to a Black woman, right? She doesn't know how to do her hair. She doesn't dress the way that you're supposed to dress to be in, corporate America. She is very, very offended when she sees situations that have to do with racism or harmful stereotypes against Black women in the literature that she has to review for her job. And she's so offended by it, she wants to speak out against it. You can tell things really, really hurt her feelings. She's a feeling person. She notices things. And unfortunately, that makes her messy, and that makes her somebody who might not rise as high in the corporate world, because in order to really, really rise, you can't be messy. You can't have these feelings. You can't be disappointed. You can't be sad. You can't let things get to you. You can't be negative, right? And when I was watching it, I was like, wow, okay. Because if you've seen it or if you've read it, you know that there's another character who enters in, the other Black girl, and some kind of a way she's mastered this. She's mastered how not to complain. She's mastered how not to let things get to her. Just be grateful where you are, work silently, let certain remarks and things just roll off your back. Stop making such a big deal out of everything so we can accomplish the ultimate goal, which is more of us in manager positions, more of us in CEO positions, more of us having a seat at the table, even if that seat at the table is a seat that's not quite as raw, not quite as vulnerable, not quite as honest. We're still there. And that's the most important thing, right? And so if you've watched it, and spoiler alert, if you've watched it or if you've read it, you know that what we find out is that the Black girl, and I don't remember her name right now. I want to call her Hazel, but I don't think that was her name. I think that was the other Black girl's name. But we found out that our main character, what she really figures out is that, okay, yeah, sure, I can play along, but my job is to play along so that I can infuse this area from the inside out with who I am. So basically, fake it until I make it. What I loved about that whole story is you find out that there's like this secret society of Black women who have learned how to always keep a smile on their face, who have learned how to not let things get to them, who have learned how to not complain, who have learned how to not be affected by the different things that they see in the world or different things they see in the workplace. And as a result, they're successful and they're able to have a seat at these tables. And the coolest thing is they monitor those deeper feelings through medicating themselves through like a hair grease that, I mean, it's, okay, I said spoiler alert, but you gotta watch it. But they're basically mastering, minimalizing their emotions by any means necessary so that they have a seat at the table. And that's what they want for all Black women. How many times do we see that, right? How many times do we see that for you to succeed, to have success, you have to become smaller? You can't share your true feelings. You can't share disappointments. You have to become super small. Put a smile on your face so you can have a seat at the table. How many times do we see it? We see it a lot. And I really, really identified with that. And so I loved the ending where our character, the main character, figures out, I'm going to fake it till I make it. But once I get in here, I'm bringing everybody with me who ever had to pretend. And what I love the most about that is she recognizes that I can only do so much by myself. I need my team. I need people who witness what, these people are trying to do. I need people who understand that our feelings matter. And the way to really change things is not to push our feelings down or to just put a smile on our face or just to change the way we wear our hair. But the way to actually change things is to let people know, hey, this affects us and this affects me. And so that's why you need to adjust it. And don't regard me as just somebody who's complaining or doing whatever, but regard me as somebody who is valid. My feelings are valid. Adjust. She knows people that feel the same way that she does. And so she's going to fake it till she makes it. And once she gets in, she's going to change things from the inside out. A point that I would have made if I had actually made that video in longer form is that we see this tactic with successful Black creatives all the time. And when I say fake it till you make it, I just mean figuring out a way to be able to disseminate your message and get your thoughts and feelings across without alienating people who might feel uncomfortable by the darker parts of your message. So a great example of somebody who does this is Issa Rae. She, of course, came onto in our purview as the awkward Black girl, so she's giving us this very real identity crisis that a lot of Black people can relate to who grew up in certain types of environments. And we're left feeling like, and even without growing up in certain types of environments, just having a personality that's not cool or not collected, saying the wrong thing, feeling the wrong thing. She's giving us this kind of hard to swallow character, but she's giving it to us in comedy, which is an example, I think, of figuring out a way to get inside and then be able to show people something different once they've accepted you on a basis that once you've given it to them on a more easily palatable basis. And when you watched Insecure from the very first episode, so we skip ahead a couple years from Awkward Black Girl, and we get into Insecure. Very first episode, we have a very, very hard to watch scene, because I watched the series from beginning to end a couple months ago. We have a very hard to watch scene with Molly. She's in the office, or maybe not the first scene, but in the first episode, she's in the office and her coworker is engaged. She's having a really hard time dating, can't figure it out, but her coworker, an Asian woman, is engaged, and she's engaged to a professional Black man. So Molly, Issa, they're my generation, elder millennials. That's something that we really dealt with, was that whole marriage thing. And, it was all around Black women aren't getting married, blah, blah, blah. But Issa Rae, instead of, maybe getting on YouTube, and I'm calling myself out here, getting on YouTube and making a video about, here's how I feel about Black women not getting married. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, look how much further she got by using the method of, hey, I'm going to come in, I'm going to make this more easily palatable for them. And then once I get in there, I'm going to show my message, what my community is worried about. I mean, there's so many different things that happen just in Insecure and in a lot of her work. But if you are familiar with her and her roots and how she started, you know that a lot of the things that people struggle with, that they're often labeled, oh, you're a complainer, you're whining, this isn't real, these things are, she has experience with those themes. But instead of sitting in that and trying to present that first, she used the method that was presented in The Other Black Girl. And she, hey, it's almost like a Trojan horse, right? I'm going to ride in a way that is palatable for you. And once I get in, me and my team are going to take over, and we're going to get our messages out there. We're going to tell our stories that way. But we have to figure out how to get in first. Because if we come in and we're wearing our hurt and our pain on our sleeves, we're going to get rejected. But we don't want to completely forget our message. We don't want to completely wash it out. We still want to be authentic to our truth, but we got to get in there first. So yeah, if I had made that original video, I definitely would have pointed out how she's an example of that particular strategy in real life. And there's a couple of other creators and creatives I would have pointed out too, but I didn't make the video, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, all right. But she needs a team. And what I realized with watching that movie is the real reason why dreams die, the real reason why people walk away from a mission, why they abandon something, is because they don't feel the support of a team. And so, yeah, you can be acknowledged. People can say, yes, I understand your feelings. Oh, you're so powerful. I get it. Yeah, you can collaborate. Hey, I'll work with you. I'll try and help you. Yes, you can get opportunities. Well, I can get you that interview. But if you don't have the support of a team, people that look at you and say, not only do we acknowledge you, we can get you opportunities, we'll collaborate, but we're going to stand behind you until the mission is done. If you don't have that, everything falls apart. And that dream that you had, that goal that you had, that idea that you want to see come to fruition, it never comes to pass. And so while I'm watching, Victoria Monet give this speech, and I could tell, it's been a long time, and she's really speaking to with that long time anybody who has a dream that doesn't just happen overnight. I'm watching this and I'm thinking, it's not just about being able to stick to it though. There's a formula. For every person that sticks to something after years and years and years, they got an army behind them. And I'm so much more aware of that now than I was a couple years ago, because I have seen in my life, I have seen people dream for something, want something really badly, and have to walk away from it. I've walked away from things. And by the way, she was talking about her time that she spent in LA, and, she just gave a quick little blurb about the industry and how, I'll link the speech so you can see it. And so I thought about my time in the city, and I thought about what I would have needed to stay or to sustain. I thought about my time that I've spent doing various things and what would have made a difference. And, it all comes down to the coat of success. And any experience where I've abandoned what I'm doing, where I've walked away from it, it's been because I'm either missing the acknowledgement. I feel like I'm working in a vacuum. Nobody can see me. I'm the only one that, so how can I make this dream come true when I'm the only one? I'm missing collaboration. Like, yeah, somebody might acknowledge, but nobody wants to work with me or help me. The opportunities aren't there. So I get discouraged and I'm like, and I walk away. Or I don't have the team. I don't have people backing me up. Like, yeah, I can go in and I can try for this opportunity, but when I get there, I'm by myself. It's overwhelming. The weight of the world is on my shoulders, and I feel like I can't do it. I wanted to share this because not only do I want to make sure that Victoria and all of the Black women who are just kicking ass right now, y'all could tell I grew up in the suburbs, It's very apparent sometimes. But anyway, all the Black women who are doing so well on the award circuit right now want to make sure that they get their flowers, so I put them all in the thumbnail. But I also wanted to make this video because there have been a lot of conversation in January about people quitting YouTube, quitting social media, walking away from it, etc. And I didn't have the best January when I came back to YouTube. Had a great December, yes, a rough 2023 altogether. But when I came back in January, I was like, ooh, I don't like this energy. I don't like how I'm acting. I don't like the reaction I'm getting from my audience on basic things I say. And I don't really know, like, what am I still doing here? What do I want to do with this? And, so I was really feeling not necessarily wanting to quit, but definitely feeling like, what's the purpose of this? And, so I kind of retreated and kept to myself and was just watching other videos of YouTubers walking away. And I'll tell you, a lot of times I'm seeing people say, hey, it's not enough, or I don't have the opportunities I want, or, I'm not feeling this way. There's a lot of reasons. I was really thinking to myself, and I still do have a Patreon page. And we had a meeting the other night, a little live, where we talked about various things. And at the end of it, there wasn't a lot of people on the call. But at the end of the call, everyone who was there took a moment to tell me to speak and to say, hey, I'm still here. I support you. And I don't think and I see it in the comments but they made sure that I heard it. And what I realized was, okay, yes, I have the acknowledgement. I might not have the collaboration. I might not have the opportunities, but I do not lack a team. I do not lack a team. Every person who's ever invested, ever watched a video, ever paid for a Patreon, ever watched a video and then had to ask me, where did it go? You deleted it. What happened? That and not walked away or unsubscribed, etc. That's my team. And I think as long as you have a team, as long as you have support, you can keep working until your mission, whatever it is done. And so I wanted to acknowledge Victoria, but I also wanted to acknowledge you guys, because I do still think that I'm still here doing anything in like a public space because of my team. And that is who you are. The majority of you who tune into my videos are. So as we go forward in this year and we see what else is possible in this little space for me, I just wanted to share that with you. I wanted to also let you know, whatever you're experiencing in life, whatever you're trying to work towards, it's important to have all of the parts. Like, don't ever let anybody make you feel bad if you're working towards something, you're getting burnt out, you want to walk away from it, you're losing your why, because it's normally for a very specific reason. Either you're not being acknowledged, you're not seeing the opportunities, you're not being able to collaborate, so you feel like you're alone, or you're lacking a team. And so I would hope for you that whatever it is, whatever step that you're on to complete your journey, that all of those pieces fall into place so that you can see it to the end. If you haven't seen Victoria's acceptance speech, like I said earlier, I will link it below because it was just so beautifully done. And I'm happy we have stories like hers, because outside of being inspirational, it's extremely realistic. Some things just do not happen overnight, and you need to be able to hold on until they come to fruition. And so this video was just me explaining how I think that holding on can be done. If you stayed all the way to the end, thank you so much. And as always, thank you for watching.